Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Germany and we're going to go back to Berlin and revisit a brewery that I reviewed maybe around a year ago, and the last beer I had from them I was really quite impressed with, so very interested to see how this one turns out. This one is a little bit more traditional compared to the last one. So we're going to go back to the Berg Brauerei, and this time we are having a taste of their Grünhopfen Weizen, which comes in at 5.9%. As the name suggests, this is a Hefeweizen beer, and this is a kind of interesting one because basically when they have the hop harvest, they put the whole hop flour into a Weizen beer when they're brewing it, which is kind of cool. And I know that Schneiderweisse from near Munich, of course, this is one thing that they do. They have a beer called Mein Grüne Weiss, which I believe is, I want to say it's tap 4, maybe. But yeah, this is something that they do, and I guess in some ways this is the little craft brewery kind of trying to do their own version of something that one of the traditional breweries do, which is always pretty cool actually. So it is kind of interesting to see a brewery that was set up to brew the more American style beers trying something that's a little bit more traditionally German. So looking forward to trying this beer, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews, then I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, link to my other reviews that I've done from the Berg Brauerei before. No doubt I will add some more in the near future. I do have 2 more of their beers to review, which you will see soon, and you can look at the old double IPA review that I did a year ago. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the German beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Berg Brauerei, then my German pronunciation is a little bit off in this video. But the Berg Brauerei was founded back in 2015 by Uli Erxleben, Finn Hensel and also Robin Weber, and the three apparently met through their careers in e-commerce, but they'd worked internationally and they were big beer enthusiasts, and they either thought about starting a business together, either opening up a beer bar or actually brewing for themselves, and eventually they settled on the latter. But they then hired their first brewmaster, who was Rich Hodges, who used to work for Crew Republic, and he trained both at Weihenstephan, which is down in Freising, part of the Technical Universität aus München, Technical University of Munich, and he also studied at Dohmens as well, which is a quite famous German brewing school, if you like. But Robin came up with the name Berg after speaking to his mum, and she reminded him that breweries were typically set up in the mountains, so they went for the name Berg, which literally translates into English as the Berlin Mountain Brewery. But the brewery is located in Kopfstrasse near Tempelhofer Feld in the Neukölln district in the south of the city, and it also has its on-site tap room as well. And they now have Michele Hengst as their managing director, and they hired a new brewmaster as well. I think Rich left because they were doing a sort of almost kind of gypsy brewing type thing where they were going to have to travel around and use capacity at other breweries as well. But he didn't particularly want to do that, and that's why they now have a new brewmaster, and they do brew their beer at a variety of other breweries around the place. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about the Berg Brauerei just now. And if you want to learn a little bit more, like I say, check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and on Instagram, and keep up to date with the latest goings on. They are a fairly prolific brewery from what I understand, so they've always got new stuff coming out that you can check out. So yeah, let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So this one, as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, is a Grün. I don't know in German if you can say Grüne Weiss, but this one, as I say, is a fresh hop, or wet hop as they're calling it here, Hefeweizen style beer. And as I said, Schneiderweisse, one of probably the most famous Weissbier Brauerei, they have their own version of this. So this is kind of the new age German craft brewery, almost kind of emulating the traditional breweries, which is quite interesting. It's normally there's a lot of that in Germany, of it being the other way around as well. A lot of the older breweries are developing new beers based on the new American styles and things like that as well. But it says on the back here, it basically tells you a little bit of what they do with the Grünhopfen Weizen. As I said, they put the whole hop flower into the beer when they're doing the hopping stage, and this particular one, it says, was brewed in Hohentan at the Hohentanner Schlossbrauerei, the Hohentanner Castle Brewery or Monastery Brewery, with the brew team from Berliner Berg. So yeah, this one was brewed at another brewery. So yeah, it says best before 27th of the 6th, 2019. So yeah, it should be a very interesting beer. Like I said, there you can see, let's let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. There you can see the typical Berliner Berg artwork, and it's quite similar to their other beers. A lot of the artwork does have this kind of roundel on it, which is cool, and that is also on the bottle cap there, and also on the little top label too, which is really nice. There you can see, I think that's a kind of squirrel there, representing the spring, I guess. But yeah, nicely presented, this one. So without further ado, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Oh, this one doesn't want to open up. There we go. So yeah, nice little bit of smoke on the opening, and we'll get this out and into the glass. So yeah, as I said, my friend Daniel very kindly lent me his IPA glass that he has. He got this from a craft beer festival, the Veeman Festival, and he very kindly lent me this glass to do reviews in while I was staying with him. So yeah, don't know if we'll get all of this in one go, but oh, we will. There we go. Very nice, perfect pour. But yeah, as you can see with this one, and as you would expect from a Hefeweizen, well, we're losing a little bit of it there. But yeah, as you can see and as you would expect from a Hefeweizen, it's poured a nice sort of hazy, blondie, golden straw yellow type colour. You can see that there if I bring it right up to the camera. It looks very, very nice. But yeah, pretty much as you would expect from the style. Nice and hazy. If I put my fingers behind the glass there, you can see there's no transparency to that beer at all. It is very, very opaque. There's a solid 2 fingers of a frothy, I would say, if I hold this one over to the light, a frothy, perfect white head on this one. Maybe a little tint of a cream edge, but maybe it's just the lighting actually. But 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But I have to admit, it's one thing that I find quite funny when I think about the traditional German Weizens, is, you know, when it's New England IPAs these days that are all the craze, these are the original haze craze beers, I have to say. But yeah, pretty much as you would expect in terms of appearance from a German Hefeweizen. So yeah, let's have a look at the aroma and see how we get on then. Again, as I'm saying, nothing, in terms of the aroma, there's nothing that's overly surprising about this one. It's you know, it has everything you'd expect. You've got a little bit of that typical doughy, bready, yeasty sort of thing that you would expect from the wheat beers. You can smell that nice, slightly thicker, wheaty smoothness to this one as well. I've always loved the German bread. When I was in Heidelberg, I really loved, you know, the pretzels and things like this. But I've always enjoyed German bread. Some of the best bakeries in the world, I would always say, you would always find in Germany. But yeah, nice big doughy, bready, yeasty sort of thing. I want to say there's a little touch of a kind of banana thing to this one, a little bit of clove and spice, but to me, this one, compared to some of the other Weizens that I've had, this one I would say is a little bit more, it's almost more a little bit about the wheat, if that makes sense. It doesn't quite have the same banana and clovey notes. There is a little bit of that, but I just remember some of them having been a little bit more pungent. This one for me smells just a little bit smoother, I would say. But yeah, a little bit of a biscuity sweetness in there as well, almost just a little bit of cookies, as the American would call it. You can pick up a little bit of that. Nice, you know, it's got that typical almost noble hop quality to it. The German noble hops are very, very distinctive. You've got a little touch of a kind of floral note to it, just a little bit of spice, but then mainly it's that sort of very slightly lemony, lighter grassy note that you expect, the likes of the Hallertau and the Tettnanger hops and things like that. I'm not sure, it didn't say if it's what kind of hops and things they've put in it, exactly what variety, but I'm guessing if it's a fresh hop beer and it's one that's brewed in Berlin, it's going to be something that's fairly local to that. It'll only, if anything, it'll have only been in the trucks a few hours before it's reached the brewery, or something like that. It will have been very, very freshly done. But yeah, it smells pretty much as you would expect from a Hefeweizen. So without further ado then, let's have a taste of this one. So this one is the Grünhopfen Weizen from Berliner Berg Brauerei in Berlin here in Germany. So the 2018 edition, I should say as well, 5.9% Hefeweizen. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål, prost. Yeah, I mean, first impression of this beer, it's very, very solid. I mean, as I said when I reviewed the double IPA from these guys, I was really impressed with that one. The quality of that beer was very, very good. This one is a typical German Hefeweizen. I keep saying that in this video, but in terms of aroma, in terms of appearance it was, and in terms of its flavour it is too. This is definitely one of the... It's a craft brewery doing traditional beer, and they do it pretty well, and that's what you want exactly. That really is what you want. Stating the obvious, but really, yeah. And it's interesting with this beer because the flavours, it really reflects quite well what you would expect when you have a look at the aroma. Definitely, let's just break this down, of course. In the middle of your palate, where you get the malty flavours, you can feel a little bit of that pale malt just forming the base of that. And on top of that, you've got this thicker, wheaty, white bready note, and as I say, that typical German Weizen malt base in there. It's got a little bit of a slightly thicker, doughy kind of thing on top of that. And the bananas, I will say that the sort of banana clovey spice sort of thing that you get from this beer is a little bit more prominent than you would have expected in the aroma. The bananas, it's almost like you've just got a little bit of a ring in the middle of your palate, and the banana flavours are kind of sitting there with some of the cloves just mixed in, and then right in the centre of the palate there's just a very light sort of biscuity flavour coming out of this one, that sort of sweet cookie biscuity sort of thing coming out of the beer. But yeah, it's this one. It is nice. I mean, one of the things I always said about Hefeweizens, I really used to like Hefeweizens before I went to live in Heidelberg. But when I was over there, I encountered the Helles and the Dunkel, and I grew to like those beers more. And the Hefeweizens to me became very, very filling. Like I couldn't actually drink all that many of them because I just felt very, very full. And for me, I would still say that the Weizen beer to me is a sort of sipping, tasting beer. I have one every so often, but it's not one that I would session, although there are some Germans that do that, and I've always wondered how they manage to do that. But yeah, I mean, this one is actually quite a nice, drinkable Weizen. To me, it feels a little bit lighter than some of the other traditional ones that I've had, and it could maybe be that I've not drank this style in quite a long time, and it could simply be that. So maybe the Weizen is a style that I need to go back to a little bit and review some more of, but it's very, very well done, this beer. I will say, thumbs up to Berliner Berg for the way this beer's turned out. It is really quite nice. So hoppy side of things then, let's have a look at that. So yeah, back corners of the palate, teeny little bit of earthiness there. It's that typical German noble hop earthiness. It's almost a little bit sweet actually, but then as you come further forward along the sides of your palate, you can feel there's a little touch of a spicy floral aromatic note to this one. Then round the very front curve of the palate, it's just a little bit lighter and grassy, and then behind the front curve of the tongue, you've just got that little oily bubble where those fruity esters start to come out of the beer. But the fruitiness in this one is a kind of lemony, grassy sort of citrus thing. It's not got any of these kind of tropical fruits that you would expect from the American hops. I'm pretty sure this will be Hallertau or Tettnanger hops, fresh hop ones that they've used in this one. I guess it might be, looking at the bottling date that's on, or the best before date on this one, it says 27th of the 6th. And going by that, this beer would probably have to mature for about 3 months or so in the bottle. I'm guessing it'll be Mittelfrüh hops they've used in this one, the mid-spring hops. But overall, yeah, in terms of a Hefeweizen, it is really quite nice actually. So another really well done beer, this one, and it's got a lovely smoothness to it as well. That's one of the things that I'm noticing about this one, and in some ways I do wonder, when you try the traditional Hefeweizens or the German Weizen beers, you do wonder if this is where, you know, you've got the styles like the American wheat beer and stuff like that. It's almost just like the New England IPA is a little bit of a, you know, them trying to just bring this Weizen hazy sort of thing. And I really wonder where the connection is between the American IPAs, the American wheats, and then the German Hefeweizens. It almost just seems like, you know, baby steps towards different things. But a very nice beer, this one. And as I say, a thumbs up to Berg Brauerei for this. You know, it's a really nice job. It is very much, in terms of the flavour profile, a traditional Hefeweizen. It's not a kind of more hoppy or more fruity thing. It's just a very solid traditional type Hefeweizen, this beer. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, mid-bodied, carbonation is pretty smooth. Nice little bit of it's got a very slight oiliness to the mouthfeel, this one, but mainly a little bit wet. Nice bit of hoppy bitterness to this one. I would say at most it's about 30 IBUs at most. It's got about the 30 IBUs. Nice smooth malt base to it. A little bit of sweetness, juicy little bit of fruit to it as well, mainly a lemony fruit quality. But as I say, overall, just a really nice beer, very solid traditional type Hefeweizen in this, and it's cool because it, you know, it is one of these green hop ones, which is something that I've never tried before. So quite cool to try one of these beers from one of the kind of upcoming Berlin craft breweries. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. A really interesting beer, and I'm glad that I was able to review this on the channel, my very first Grünhopfen Weizen beer. So yeah, as I say, let's leave it at that. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section, but let me know what your favourite beers are from the Berg Brauerei as well. I will be reviewing more beers from them in the fairly near future. They do some very nice American style beers as well. This is one of the more traditional German beers, like I said, but overall very impressed with the things I've had from these guys so far, and I can see them going pretty far, so we'll see how they go over the next little while. But thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This was the Grünhopfen Weizen 2018 Wet Hop Edition from the Berg Brauerei in Berlin in Germany. Until the next time, Sandra just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Skål, Prost.